far as the rest of it goes, we kind of neglected that park. And we have the recreation committee that's looking at possibly converting that park because we haven't updated our recreation equipment there, looking at the addition of 2 dog parks. One at that park, so removing the playground equipment and putting a nice dog park in there, and then another over by East Field between the ball fields and the garden to put a dog park there. And so we've actually set some ARPA money aside, and that's the plan. And we're hoping that is, because we did notice that it probably isn't worth it to replace the little bit of playground equipment. It's so old that you'd have to completely replace it, and there's not really room for both. Okay? Great. So it's now past, 7:26. So is there any public comment about the law to amend the Parks and Recs operation? Not seeing any. Peter, do you have anybody online? So not hearing any public comment, I'd now like to close the public hearing on the local law to amend Chapter 153-1, Parks and Recs hours of operation, and open another public hearing at 7:25 or 7:26 at this point to amend zoning code 220-4 definitions to add the adult use recreation retail definition and revise sections 220-15 through 220-21. I'll try to explain it the best, and I'll have Cameron clarify if I misspeak something, if I could. But basically, we want to make sure that any adult use recreation license, like an alcohol license or a cannabis dispensary license, that no matter where they're zoned in, we want to make sure that they're going in front, that they're to appear in front of the planning board for site plan review. So we've simply added into each of the different zones that would allow such a license to go in front of the planning board for site plan review. It's the only real change. We wanted to make sure that even if it was the same use in an allowed use thing, that they go in front of the planning board to review it. Any questions? Do we have any public comment? Not seeing anybody with public comment. Peter, do you have anybody online? So we'll leave this open for just 2 or 3 more minutes until we get to 7:30, and then we'll close this public hearing. It's now 7:30, and I'd like now close this public hearing regarding the amends this city zoning code 220-4 definitions to add the adult use retail definition and revise sections 220-15 through 220-21. And with that, we'll close that public hearing and I now open the call to order the Glens Falls Common Council meeting. It's still Tuesday, July 23rd, 2024 at 7:30. Time for a regular session. Please rise and join the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilman Ed Donahue.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now open all council meetings with public comment. If you have a comment that you'd like to speak to the council, please come to the microphone, give us your name and address.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm Laura Fox, 5 Madison Street. Wonderful street now. You guys did a great job. Police department, wonderful.
Thank you.
I'm just asking for mulch for Crandall Park.
You're asking for mulch for Crandall?
I play pickleball. And last summer when I started playing there, the area that I guess the beautification committee had put in was just overrun with weeds. I mean, it was just a mess.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a gardener, I couldn't stand it. So I play a few games and go and weed, and I mean 11 bags and I don't know, countless hours it took to clean it up. We lost a couple of plants due to all the weeds. The sedum are infected again because the weeds have come back. So I asked for mulch then.
Who did you ask? Sorry.
Amy Collins.
Okay.
She said, well, something about the beautification committee. Then it was fall and I just let it go.
Sure.
So this spring, here come the weeds, so what do? I start to weed. Please can we have some mulch? No response.
So you want, and so again, you've asked our interim recreation director?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so it was done, again, hours and hours. I went away out of the country, so I wasn't there. I thought the mulch would be spread. I came back, it's a mess again. I weeded one more time, and I said, please, please, please can we have mulch? I talked to the beautification committee, or one of the guys on the beautification committee. He goes, we asked the city. I'm happy to maintain the weeds. I don't care. Cannot be done
You'd like
without
some
mulch.
mulch. So you want me to put some mulch over on the far
Where
side? Are we talking about
where
by
the
the
pickleball
wall?
courts are, where the wall is.
By the wall.
Yeah, so there's an area.
So you weeded by the wall?
Well, so
in
it
between the
needs
wall
to be
and-
done again.
Fair enough. I just want to clarify that's what you're looking for.
Yes.
All right.
Just some mulch.
I cannot promise you, but I appreciate it. I will speak to my DPW department, try to get a pile of mulch over there. All right?
They can even get the mulch like in piles. I'll be happy to spread.
Can you do me a favor? And just, so my email address is mayor@cityofglensfalls.com.
Yeah.
Would you just send me an email, remind me, and tell me your name and
Yeah.
your address again, so I can let you know when I put it there?
Oh, I'll know because I'm there like almost every day. So I will know.
It'd be great if you could send me that. All right.
I'm sure
All right.
will.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
She's real good pickleball.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I saw it. You let me know. I think there's a pickleball challenge there somewhere. Right? I lose, then we buy the mulch. I buy the mulch. All right. Okay. Yeah. You got to beat me in pickleball first. That's all I can say. Fair enough. All right. I'm with you. You send me the email. All right. Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to address the common council? We'll get you next. We'll get you in just a second. Peter, is there anybody online? Nobody's asking for mulch. Okay. All right. That's it for. I'm thrown now. Public comment. And so we have two presentations on the agenda. Izzy, if you don't mind, I'll put you on hold for just a second. And so Jeff and the The collaborative, the bid folks, not the collaborative, and the coalition, sorry. Oh, you know, thank you guys. Please, talk to us.
Good evening. On behalf of the Civic Center Coalition and the Adirondack Thunder, we're here to let you explain the economic impact study that we've had done. This is our third one since we took over in January of 15. But first, I just want to talk a little bit about the history because a lot of people are new here from when we took over. Actually, it'll be 10 years in January. So, and it reminds me, we met this morning with the chamber, not the chamber, the Warren County, and we did the same proposal. We were lucky to get the same day. We went and said the same impact study. But yesterday was the 22nd of July, and it's funny because Jack Diamond was the mayor then, and you only had like about 150,000 in your computers. Remember the days, right, Mayor?
Sure.
There wasn't a lot of money around, and so we had to put this up for sale. And what soon to become Mayor Hall, he was a common council member at the time. He had come into my office, and so it was July 22 of 14, 10 years ago yesterday. And he said, you know, we have to sell this. And I said, what are you doing? He came in to sell booster club stuff for Glens High School. And I said, well, so I bantering, I said, what are you gonna sell that place? Oh, we have to. There's no money. The mayor's made a decision. I said, yeah, in September you're selling it. We're supposed to go off September 9th. And one thing led to another, and I said, you can't do this. And I had gotten a couple of calls to try to help. And I said, well, I don't want to get involved with that garbage down there. It's about long. So anyhow, long story short, I said, a lot can be done. We made a phone call. Rick Fuller was president of the chamber at the time. Made a phone call to Rick. A day later, which would have been today or tomorrow, I forget what was the second day, we met at the Adirondack Chamber, and we formed a group, got some people from the original Booster Club, came down, a bunch of hockey people, and little by little, we assembled a group of business people, bankers, attorneys, accountants, athletic directors in both Queensbury and Glens Falls, bankers, on and on and on, professional business people who had businesses, and we got engaged. And we felt we couldn't make it work, so we had put out a call for $250,000 matching fund. Within 5 days, from Monday to, we had the other $250,000. We had $500,000, and we raised another $130,000. We were on our way. But we said, oh my God, how are we gonna do this? So we went to the county, and they supported us for a 3-year term. And of course, we ended up paying $600,000 for the building. We have a right, with $1, we can take over that. But then we said, we don't want this burden. So we went back to Jack and the common council and said, hey, you got to help us here because, oh my God, we can't afford this. And the big reason was getting grants. And you had a grant, the common council had a grant for $600,000 for the new marquee. So we thought we would lose that. So in the end of the deal, we have the right to buy it for $1. We paid $600,000 for it. And here we are today. 10 years later, not quite, 6 months from 10 years later, and we're here with an impact study to tell you what we have done with this community. And now, and 3 years ago under Mayor Hall, they started to support us and get $50,000 a year, and the county gives us $100,000, and we put in $50,000 for capital improvements. So 3 years ago you started, and this year you blessed us with $200,000 for Heritage Hall, and the county blessed us with $400,000. So everybody's supporting it. So I want you to look at this economic impact study. You all have it in front of you, correct?
Yeah.
The things I want to bring to your attention, if you look on the top left side, you'll see 10.6. It's 6,000 in it. So in 15 and 16, we had done an economic impact study, and it shows that we brought direct $10.8 million into the community. And if you look on the left, on the right, down, you'll see the number 780. Do you see that number 780? Mm-hmm. All right, that showed you how much money the 10.8 meant to the county and the city, 780,000. So here we went back, and this was a degree of us. Most Most organizations don't do that, but our board felt we needed to do this. In 17 and 18, we did another study. It showed 13.2 direct financial impact, 13.2 million, and the second number is 843,000. You see, 943,000 direct money to you. Here we fast forward to our current one, 22 and 23. It shows $21 million comes back to our community, and the direct impact of cash flow of 1.2 million. So that's kind of impressive. Now, you look down at the adult attendance, and in the first impact, it was 210, and then it was 208, no, it was 161, 208, 210, the reverse of what I just said. But you don't see a big improvement since the 208, 2010, because in 208, we had 6 playoff games. You'll see the bottom foot line there. So it's really, and that amounts to 5,000 to 16 is another 25,000 people. So in reality, that number would have been said like 180 or 190. So there is a big jump. And I want you to know also that this is not this year, and this was our best year ever. So we're talking about doing another one. We usually do it every 2 years. And that 21 million could be as much as 25 million, and the 122 could be 1.5. So that's what we're here to tell you and to show you and be grateful for what you've done, and hopefully you're satisfied with what we've done as a board, and that's where we're at. Now before I want to bring up Jeff, and Jeff is going to talk to you about the hockey team and the money. You'll see that other piece of paper there. It shows you that we've given back through the arena $330,000 through charitable things that directly come from. So not only but the 1.2, we're giving money back in another way as you support us and continue. So Jeff, he's going to come up and give you all that. And by the way, I would also like to let you know that we have 29 teams in the ECHL League, and it's just like any other thing. Football league, the NHL and the AHL hockey, they have 29, 30, 32 teams. Jeff was named the Executive of the Year for the ECHL team, and we as a board are quite proud of that, and I think we should be as a community. And that's indicative of all of this stuff and the hard work that's been done. He's also going to talk about some of the other awards that we got. He sits on the board of directors there now. So we're really well thought of in the ECHL League as the smallest market in the area and with an impact. They call us now, and Jeff will talk about that. How do you do it? How do you run your business? So he'll say that, and I'll come back with closing remarks.
All right.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you, Ed.
Good evening. Yeah, kind of a quick overview of our last 6 months than last year. The Thunder, just in the first 6 months of 2024, the Thunder had 29 home games. Obviously, we had a pretty good playoff run, but in those 29 home games, we had an attendance of over 130,000 fans, which is pretty remarkable for us. In total, we had 17 sold-out events this year, which is like last year we had 6, which is certainly a huge increase, and we're pretty proud of that. Total hockey attendance this year was 195,000 fans, for an average of 4,239 fans per game, which at our building is 80% capacity. So it was a pretty historic year on and off the ice. As Ed mentioned earlier, we are the smallest market in the ECHL. We've always prided ourselves on having an impact in the community. That's kind of the mission of the coalition, right? To be a part of the community, give back to the community. And this year, the hockey team was able to give back over $300,000 to local organizations, over 200 organizations. So another thing we're very proud of down at the arena. So the team itself had over 92 community events, players out at schools, out at the YMCA, out at senior centers. So we think we've really made our mark on the community in terms of giving back as well. So other notable events this year in the last 6 months, Jeff Dunham, which is another sold-out show. The junior hockey team, which you awarded the junior hockey team $40,000 to build locker rooms, still going strong. 6 games, won the division again last year. Unfortunately, bowed out early in the playoffs again, but we'll get Glenn Murkowski to be a little bit better next year, I promise. Section 2 basketball week, always a great week, over 12,000 fans. The state basketball, one of our better events we have every year. Unfortunately, it's been gone for a couple of years. 19,600 fans showed up for the 3.5 day event. Globetrotters came back, Glens Brew Fest, which has kind of become a staple at the arena. We did a big spa and hot tub show. We do all 4 graduations, right? SUNY, Queensbury, South High, and Bosie's, always well-attended events. So 53,000 attendees for those events. So just in the first 6 months of 2024, about 185,000 people have come to the arena for events. It doesn't include like AYHA or youth hockey or adult league. So it's been a pretty great 6 months for 2024. So happy to answer any questions before Ed comes up and closes it up for us.
So the 210,000 annual attendance is just hockey?
For 23, 24, we had 195,000 fans. Yeah, just hockey. Yeah, yep. About 4,300 fans per game. Yeah.
And how many, with all the other events, are you equaling that same number, roughly a couple 100,000?
No, I mean the Thunder, they kind of lead the way.
I'm sure.
Probably another, depending on every year, between 75 to 100,000 fans for arena events. Yeah, yeah. So.
And are you kind of tough to do a lot better in hockey than you've ever done? I mean, that's amazing, right? And that almost reached the finals, right?
Oh, on the ice there?
Yeah.
We got late in the round 3, but the goal is to get one step further next year. Yeah, so
sure.
It's hard. It was certainly our best year. The ice off the ice last year we finished with 1,615 season ticket holders, and as of today we're already at 1,730. So we may actually get to 2,000 season ticket holders for next year. So we're pretty excited about that as well.
Right. And so. Because what I was trying to say, I wasn't trying to minimize. I mean, it's amazing and so fantastic. We'd love to have another. It's Kelly Cup, right? Not Calder Cup.
Kelly Cup, yes.
Right? Yeah. I'm aging myself just by saying Calder Cup. Is the goal to try to bring in more of the other events and to focus on them now that you've got the stable that is amazing hockey?
Yeah, I mean, the last couple of concerts we've done have been really successful. We'd love to be able to do more concerts, just get kind of a big impact on the community. But the WWEs of the world, they're a little bit more challenging for us to get into our small community. But yeah, that's kind of going to be a focus for the next couple of years, and then certainly to increase Heritage Hall events as well.
Great, and so Heritage Hall looks fantastic.
Yeah. I know Ed said thank you, but yeah, thank you very much. And we're starting to see a lot more events, retirement events, parties. We've got a couple of weddings booked for the fall, so we're pretty excited about that as well.
That's great. And we're hoping to, my administration, my community and economic development team is working with tourism. We've been talking a lot about the future of economic development driven by tourism, by event space, right? We need to bring more young people, more millennials back into Glens Falls. And we know that events are things that drive people. And the presentation that was made to me at the annual New York Conference of Mayors was that tourism is economic development's first date. Right? And we know that people who come to Glens Falls, whether it be for a hockey game or a basketball tournament or the Special Olympics or any of the other things, that a lot of times they'll go, oh my God, this is Mayberry, right? This place is amazing, right? Even though we see what more needs to be done, how our streets need to be cleaner, how our sidewalks need to be better, how that is a never-ending focus, but that bringing people in for those events is the new economic development, right? And so we're hoping to partner with you during some point in 25 to bring an event kind that was, I know that Drew Fitzgerald talked to you about, right? A regional music event that would focus with the crown and the jewel being the Civic Center. So know that we're hoping to come to you and help with that focus, that we too believe the same true. We know you're an economic engine driver. I'd love to, what company did you use for?
Comoing Associates, yeah. We've used them for all 3 studies, yeah.
And so I might call you and ask you to meet with me and with them. I'd love to see some of their raw data. And then I gotta make a joke, like, of the 21 million, how much is left that is not your expenses, your annual salary? It's gotta be, what, 18 million of that,
Yeah,
right?
actually my review's next week, so hopefully 18.5.
Yeah, right, yeah, that's great. That's awesome. Well, you look, other questions, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, I just, thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for your long-term continued support. Oh, yeah. We do have the backup study too, Mayor, with all the data, yeah.
Oh, you do? Oh,
Yeah.
thank you so much. I love the idea that 1.2 million total in sales taxes generated from 21 million revenue of the building itself. We'd always love to get more of that 1.2 million that is generated total in the city to come straight to us, but we're working on that with the county as well, right?
Perfect.
And, but what an amazing job. What the investment of the roof, right? I mean,
Yeah.
right, we were spending anywhere from 200,000 on a great year to 600,000 on a bad year. That $2 million roof is paying for itself time and time again. So what a great partner and what a great draw it is to the community, and we're all benefiting.
Yeah, no, appreciate it. Obviously, we couldn't have done Heritage Hall without the roof, and many other things, so, thank you very much. Yeah.
You could have, but you had to get more buckets for the water.
Yeah, I think we finally threw all the buckets away, yeah.
You didn't get this.
The players.
The coaches, the players, everybody. I mean, right? There's an amazing staff.
NHL started that.
Yeah, sure.
He actually, player for our first year, Ryan Lomberg, just won the Stanley Cup for the Florida Panthers, yeah. It was pretty exciting for us, yeah.
It was almost like a Hall of Fame meeting at Coach Casey's funeral, right? I couldn't make it to the wake, but at the funeral, right? To have Greg Jolly, and all these different people coming back and saying what a great community, what great difference Coach Casey made in the community, and just all I could think, it was I fell over my memories of the Civic Center from it, right? It truly is
It's a hockey town.
yeah.
It truly is.
Yeah.
It was a shame when we almost lost it, and then when we had to come and we were going to lose the team, and we said, what do we do without the team? So 2 years after we did this, we had to venture into the hockey. But
Yeah.
it's worked out. What I wanted to say, Jeff had sent this. You didn't get these here, the full impact study? Oh, you did?
Yeah, we
You
did
did.
get it. I just haven't had a chance. I'm sorry.
Okay. So to answer any of these questions, if you want to dig deeper, how they arrived at it, you look at this and it'll tell you all about this.
That's
You know what I mean? So you understand it, you know?
That's awesome.
But in closing, just want to thank you so much for supporting us. I hope you continue to support us. We have great plans, have great ideas, and I think you're going to see in the next month or two us come out with a great presentation, and hopefully you'll continue to support us and make this a better place, and just keep downtown up and away. Thank you.
Thank you all, appreciate it, thanks, Mayor.
Next up, Izzy, your Deputy Chief Modar. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Good evening, council members. How are you?
Good evening.
Good to see you again. At least this week we're not having a bunch of storms come through and knock the power lines down. Right, exactly. For those 2 days, for those 2 moments that we had in time, we ran 50 plus calls on top of our normal 17, 18 calls we had in a day. So we ran almost 100 calls in just those 2 days. So it was quite an eventful time period for us. But just to give you some updates, what 2024 has brought for us. I'm currently in the process of completing onboarding our 7 new firemen who will be starting the academy on Monday. They'll be going out to Montour Falls Sunday night to start their 15-week course, which will include road rescue and hazmat technician. The other 3 that we have will be spending a month with us in the firehouse, getting some extra training, learning the ropes, so to speak, what it really is like spending 24 hours at the firehouse. In September 3rd, right after the holiday, they'll be heading to Utica for their fire academy. another 15-week journey that they will have. Both these groups will basically complete their training in full in December. So fingers crossed, we will have a full staffed department finally after all these years. But unfortunately, there are rumors of retirements coming next year. So we may end up again -4. But that's the way the firehouse works, right? We all work so that we can retire. Another good bonus is our appointment of the fire prevention officer, Lieutenant Worf. He has stepped in, has made great progress, has worked with myself, has worked with PJ in the codes department, has worked with the building committee in getting the things put out there, put in place that we need to push what we've been needing for several years now. A lot of the business owners have met him, have asked questions, and we are now in that training process, just like we thought. We're leaving the documents that they can look at. They can do a self-check, realizing the things that they will have to make sure that it's fixed when they come and get a full inspection. And we are also doing our pre-plans. We have the officers go out with the BSI members and we complete a full pre-plan, something that we haven't done in years as well, updating our records for ourselves so that if we ever get a fire or emergency at that building, it's addressed beforehand and allows us to know what's in that building and how cut up it is. As we all know, buildings around here have new businesses in it from when they originally were built for. Another bonus is our new fire engine.
Before you move on, I'm
Yes,
sorry
sir.
to interrupt you, but do we have the new software yet for you guys to record?
That is
or are
in
you
work
still
in
using
progress.
the old?
Yep. They are working with the company every other week now, doing a WebEx with them and modifying as they go along and making the changes.
So you
that
have,
progress-
you're
progress
still
is
in
going.
the process of implementing?
Yep.
I just wanted
So
to
we're
make
still
sure.
doing a paper trail, if you will,
All right.
but all those records are now being itemized and filed so that we can go right back to them, put them in the computer system, and then we're back in the road where we want to be without skipping a beat. So either way, we're much better than where we were before.
Right, and you figure that's would you have a guess, a 3-month process, 6-month process?
She's promising by the end of the year,
By the end of the year, okay.
so we'll
Great.
see.
So that would be a day, hopefully by 2025, where you would be operating completely.
Both codes and ourselves being able to log in and see the same information, as well as our officers. So when we go out into the calls and we have a certain call where we have a hoarder home or a certain issue with healthcare, so to speak, we can document that information, put it in the notes. They see that in the morning when they come in and they address it that same day. And it's a record that anybody else can see that has privy to our documents as well.
Almost like 21st century.
Pretty much for right
I
now.
gotta be
Which is
serious.
good. We need that.
Yeah,
We
those
need
were
that all the
fantastic.
way around.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Back to the fire engine. So it'll be here next week. It still has a lot to do to it. It has to go to West Signs to get graphics, radios to install in it, which are being done in-house. Tools and appliances, some of that will be pulled off of other trucks, and we will have to make new purchases of new tools to put on that as well, because you can't take them off of other apparatuses. Just
Some
because
you
they're-
can and some you can't?
Right.
Is that- okay.
Yeah. So those funds will be dictated at a later time, what we'll and need. I like to keep bringing this up because it is a huge load that the department has been carrying for many years now. And every chance I have to have a listening ear, I try to bring it up. Ever since COVID, we all know 2022, everybody has been burdened by the workload, less and less employees. During that time of COVID, there were times we had 2 full crews that were placed on quarantine, which meant that our department was running basically on 3 crews for a whole week. So
Does that mean
it's
that's
quite a
opposed to
workload.
how many? how many in full staff?
Well, instead of running for a whole week, you essentially miss out on 9 guys. So they're taken out of the workload. And when you're already running short, that makes the burden even more. Okay. So since 2022, just to put it in perspective, the department has worked a total of 42,915 hours. That hour increment is all the way up to June of this year.
Hours of overtime?
Hours of overtime. And to put that in perspective, we've only worked 96 24-hour shifts a year. Right? That above total of 42,000 hours amounts to 1,787 days. There's only 365 days in a year. So, to lay this out for you, just a little bit more, those who might be listening, in 22, we worked an extra year and 341 days of overtime in our department. In 23, we worked a year and 314 days of overtime. So far this year, we have already worked 1 year and 37 days. Now, this total that I gave you, which is 9,654 hours, is half a year. And given the fact that we have new firemen that will not graduate their academies until December, add those two numbers together times 2. That's 19,308 hours. Essentially, we'll be almost working 2 years this year of overtime. Your department and your personnel has worked above and beyond their normal status to keep the department going, run the increasing workload of calls, and I would like to say without complaints, but we all are imperfect, right? And they still do it to this day, and they will do it because they know that's what they signed up. The fire service is just that. It is a service to help others no matter what, before you help themselves. So again, just like I did at the Public Safety Board meeting, I'd like to ask if you guys would recognize them for the service that they've done above and beyond.
Sure. Let me do that. Let me do it at the end of the council
Yes, sir.
thing.
Yep.
As you stand there. Can I ask you, in the heat of that, so in the last 3 years, what were those numbers again? How many hours each year?
I can break it down. In 2022,
Yeah.
16,945.
16,000 hours. Thank you.
And 23,
Yeah.
16,315 hours.
Right.
And so far this year, at the end of June, we have 9,654.
And in those 2 years were the 16,000. How many empty positions are those overtime hours filling?
That I cannot give you correctly, to be sure.
So I remember there was 7 at one point.
Yep,
Was it
there is 7
greater?
currently.
Was
Yep.
it at 7 currently?
Yep, and that's including the 2 that we have on Section 72
Yeah.
as well. So that did not happen until this year.
Right.
So would you anticipate that number going down as you get a full count?
I surely hope so.
Yeah.
And can you also, I would like you to equate those hours with dollars, please. If
Okay.
you can provide that
We can
to
do
us
that.
as well.
Yep.
I think that's important too.
Comparatively. Yep.
And it also would help us to get the number of your overtime hours when you're fully staffed.
Right.
So we should see that number dramatically.
Minus the vacation time and sick call outs that are normally scheduled already,
Yeah.
definitely go out.
But
And
you historically will have that. I mean, that's
Yes.
nothing new.
Yep.
That's part of an operational, of a department.
Yeah.
correct.
Being down staff members on a consistent basis is not right. So,
And if you have the 4 people coming in and you didn't have anybody retiring, you'd have how many positions open? 3?
3. Yep. Yep.
So you
And-
can see that number cut close to half.
Absolutely.
If we just passed a law not allowing anybody to retire.
If only. And a big bonus. And to give you another tidbit, on top of just the overtime to cover our normal daily shifts, we also had 300 hours of confined space standby for Finch while they closed down, which is a normal thing that we do anyway from year to year, at least twice a year. So 300 hours on top of just coming in and doing your normal job. and to do it for Finch for our confined space standby is basically doing a double duty for everything that we stand for.
And we charge Finch, don't we, for that?
We do.
For that
Yep.
time. Yeah.
But that's not you.
That's not new
Right.
either, but
That's
it's just
something-
They're
another
just throwing that in there. to add some
nuance
flavor
of,
to it.
Yeah.
we're doing it and we're doing it on top of everything else.
Right,
So
but we've been doing that.
we have even more. Even though we've lost SD across the bridge,
Right.
we're still gaining.
So it's actually less. Right?
Yeah, this year so far. Fingers crossed. Also, to the beginning of this year, which also adds to some of the overtime, we sent 4 new fire investigators to be trained in Montour for fire investigations, as we only had 2 in our department. We share that workload of fire investigations with the county. Currently, we have 1 that has completed all his requirements. He is now fully certified as a New York State fire investigator, and 2 are not far behind in getting their hours and the requirements to complete that as well. So we've had quite a busy year so far, a lot going on, and a lot more to happen for the rest of the year, but hopefully a little bit smooth sailing with light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak.
Any questions for this? Could I ask for a resolution to recognize the Glens Falls Fire Department firefighters for their dedication and service to the residents of Glens Falls and the community of Glens Falls?
Do you want to do that now?
If that's
I'll
possible.
move that, yeah, absolutely.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you.
Thank you for your service as well.
Doesn't seem like a fair trade, that resolution for their hours. Please, if there are other ways that we can recognize them, please let us know. We do appreciate it. I know that I'm gonna, if you stick around, we're gonna talk about them under new business because of the work, the nearly 100 calls in 2 days. I did not recognize that number was that high, but we couldn't have gotten through this without you. So,
And that's why we do it, really. The little things, the little compliments go a long way. Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks.
Committee reports, Councilman Clark,
I have no report.
Councilman Dunn.
Okay, Sustainability Committee. Meeting dinner on July 15th, 2024. The Sustainability Committee last Monday, July 15th, here in City Hall, we covered several different projects. Plug-in stations online submitted a proposal to take over the operations and management of the charging stations currently owned and operated by the city. There is a resolution. This is a resolution on this week's agenda to accept the proposal and permit the mayor to work with plug-in stations on an agreement. There's another proposal in today's packet to accept the proposal for Start Tech to conduct fleet inventory and create a fleet efficiency policy for the city's municipal fleet as part of the Climate Smart Communities grant we received. The city has also been approved to initiate 2 community campaigns through the New York, through NYSERDA Clean Energy Community Program. One is a electric vehicle purchase campaign, and the other is a clean heating, clean cooling campaign to encourage. And we have started conversations with green screen paints about setting up paint cycling event later this year, perhaps in October.
Thank you. Councilman Lapp? Councilwoman Good?
The special projects will be meeting tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the mayor's conference.
What time?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock tomorrow in the conference room?
Not 8 o'clock in the morning.
That's good.
Now,
I'm with you on that one.
Thank you. Let's see, next, we have one resolution under voice vote. One is a resolution to approve the minutes of the July 9th, 2024 meeting of Glens Falls Common Council as attached. Do we have a second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Under roll call vote, are there any resolutions the council would like to pull for discussion? Not hearing any. 2 is a resolution to increase revenue line A009999-4089, government aid, general government aid ARPA by $8,850, $7,850, and increase A67140-4479, parks and other contracted services by $7,820, and to approve and pay for the purchase of the installation of fence material for the May Street Dog Park. 2 is a resolution to increase, or excuse me, 3 is a resolution to increase A009999-2680 insurance recovery by $2,065.66, and increase budget expense line A23120-4352 Police Department Motor Vehicle Repair by $2,065.66 for the repair of a police department vehicle. Number 14. 4 is a resolution to increase revenue line A009999-4089 government aid ARPA by $4,034.37, and increase A67140-2500 Rec Main DPW other equipment by $4,034.37, and combine this amount with donation from the Crandall Park Beautification Committee of $1,500 for a total of $5,534.37 to purchase windscreens for the Crandall Park pickleball courts as attached. 5 is a resolution to increase revenue line A009999-4089 government aid ARPA by $8,486 to increase expense line A11325-220 Controller's Office by $8,486 to increase a quadrant model DS64I folding inserter for the Controller's Office on New York State contract PN 69823. Wow, it's going to be a long night. 6 is a resolution to approve state and local supplemental agreement number 2 between City of Glens Falls and New York State Department of Transportation for the Webster Avenue Pavement Preservation Project, PIN 1762.00, increasing appropriated New York State Department funding as attached. 7 is a resolution authorizing the negotiation and execution of an agreement with plug-in stations online for that firm to take over the management and operations of the city's EV charging stations. Furthermore, the mayor of the city of Glens Falls is hereby authorized to enter into an agreement with plug-in stations online to transfer operation, control, and maintenance of the city's EVSE as attached. 8 is a resolution to authorize the allocation of $108,600 in ARPA funding to cover the city's matching portion of the $205,300 Empire State Development Smart Cities Grant in regard to the city's urban farm project known as Urban Agricultural Pilot. 9 is a resolution authorizing the community development manual payments in the amount of $2,689.13 for CBG reimbursement to the city for a portion of the community development director's salary to pay for replace a broken chair, to repay CT Mal for project delivery costs under the CBG Emergency Home Rehabilitation Project, and to pay for an advertisement related to the submittal of the annual action plan for project year 2024. 10 is a resolution to award 2 grants under the city's 80K Gateway Home Ownership Program to cases 2021 HB-046 and 2021 HB-047, and the amounts not to exceed the total needed by income eligible purchaser to fill the gap between the buyer savings and the final down payment and closing costs in accordance with the underwriting standards established by New York State Homes and Community Renewal. 11 is a resolution to approve the following mobile food unit license. Mobile food license number 36-37 2024. 36 is Joseph Nancy Gonzalez, DBA Kona Ice of Clifton Park. 62J Wexford Road, or Wexford, New York. Vegan Fest, for the Glens Falls Vegan Festival on August 10th. And number 37-2024, Christina Lloyd, DBA Solistic Vegan, 39 Marwood Street, Albany, New York, to then for the Glens Falls Vegan Festival on August 10th. 12 is a resolution to retroactively approve an overall budget for the Climate Smart Communities Project in the amount of $87,000, consistent with the initial agreement with DEC. Be it further resolved, Common Council authorize the mayor to enter into a contract with Stark Tech for additional services not to exceed a cost to the city of Glens Falls of $15,280. And be it further resolved that the Common Council approves this allocation of ARPA funds to provide a matching portion of this grant in an amount not to exceed the matching portion of $43,500, whereas the city of Glens Falls received a grant in 2019 in the amount of $43,500 from the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation to conduct several tasks relating to DEC's Climate Smart Communities program. 13 is a resolution to adopt a local law to amend Chapter 153-1 of the City Code Parks and Recreation in the City of Glens Falls to limit the hours of downtown City Park to be standard hours as well as all other city parks and recreation areas the town or the city owns. This local law shall take effect upon the filing in the Office of the Secretary of State, New York State. It's provided in the Municipal Home Rule Law. 14 is a resolution to adopt local law amend Chapter 220 of the Zoning Code of the City of Glens Falls to add adult use recreation retail definition and to add adult use recreation retail as a permitted use upon site plan and approval by the Planning Board to 220-115D Cultural Professional Office District, 220-16D Local Neighborhood Commercial Districts, 220-17C General Commercial Districts, 220-18C General Commercial District 2, 220-19C Central Commercial Districts, 220-20C Light Industrial Districts, 220-21C Heavy Industrial Districts, and this local law shall take effect upon the filing of the Secretary of State of New York as provided in the Municipal Home Rule Law. 15 is a resolution to approve the warrant. Do we have a motion to go to roll call vote?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Harshbark?
Yes.
Councilman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilman Landau?
Yes.
And Councilman Hood?
Yes.
And then I believe I have a resolution to come from the floor, if you will so entertain it. It's a last-minute expense of $500 to, I'll read it to you in a second. I'm going to pass this along to you so you can take a look. I apologize for this. This is, we need money to go into our mailing system to pay for postage. We have the money that will be coming in, but it'll be coming in at a later date from Water and Sewer, who's run down that through a large mailing that they did. And so I'm asking if the council would approve $500 to increase expense line A11670-4327 Central Mail by $500 to pay Pitney Bowes for a bill for city postage. The information is behind you in an invoice. I made you copies of all of it so that you can see what it was going to. I do believe at the end of the budget season that we're not actually asking you to spend $550 more, that it will, you know, I'm sure we come in under budget. It's just that they're short right now and we need to pay some postage, and the time it takes to transfer the money due to us from the Water and Sewer Department take too long, and we need to get this mailing out. And again, I apologize, we didn't get this to you sooner for you to look at.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call vote, please. Wait, before you do, I just want to remind you all that this needs to be fully approved 100% or it won't pass and we'll end up
See, the invoice is $506.07.
yeah, but would they have some money in the account? We just need $500 to be able to cover the shortage until we can reclass it.
Write the check.
That's right. Very good. We don't want to bounce a check, and we want to pay our bills on time. Very good, thank you. Yes, and so I need 100% vote for this to pass. It's okay if you don't, but I wanted you to all be aware of this particular vote because it's coming from the floor. I'd like to remind you. So go ahead, roll call vote, please.
Councilman
Yes.
Marshall, Councilman Donahue,
Yes.
Councilman Lamb,
Yes.
and Councilman Butcher.
Yes.
Thank you all so much, and again, my apologies. That was all I had for that. Old business, Councilman Clark.
And
Councilman Donahue.
Nothing.
Nothing. Councilman Lappin.
I just wanted to communicate some feedback that I've had over the past couple of weeks regarding parking. I got some questions from Iron Gate physicians about certain areas where they park being previously, over the past 30-something years, they were kind of left alone to park in those places. They park out along the street in order to give their patients a place to park off-street. So they just wanted to get some clarity on where they might be able to park. If not, so this was on a section of Pine Street, which I believe in code it says that that's an area that is, I think the mayor pointed out to me, was for permit parking only. But it's not, the signage isn't up for the permit parking only along the area that they're parking at. I think it's on another area of that street.
closer to Verizon.
Yeah, exactly. And so I just, I know we've got the comprehensive plan coming up, and just that if we could have, like, we have a lot of businesses downtown where we have people who work like minimum wage jobs or server jobs where they need to have a place to park in 2 hours. Isn't really feasible for people that are working full-time shifts. So just to bring that out when we go into comprehensive planning, just to bring that issue up.
Thank you. And there have been multiple people that have reached out to us, and Councilman Lappin and I have spoke about this. I think we're in agreement with a lot that we need to solve some of these problems, that we certainly don't want this to be on the burden of employees and employers. Certainly don't. So there's, I did have a chance to speak to officials from the hospital that did assure me that they do have enough parking for theirs, and that they were going to talk to their employees, but we did get a letter from some hospital employees too. And I've got met with an employer today as well who admitted that they actually have parking in a parking lot, but they weren't feeling very comfortable because sometimes there's folks in the parking lot lingering, and it made them nervous, and so they prefer to park out on, in this case, I think it's Pine Street. I encourage them to call us so that we could help them with that, to feel safe in their community, and I appreciated their concern is very similar to, hey, we need a place to park, and we're going to work, and it's not like we can afford several parking tickets. So it's good to be hearing from people and to consider all those needs. We certainly have parking needs. We need to hear them. So thank you, sir. Sorry, Mary. I think we're on old business. I apologize.
I'd just like to, I was away during the storm when it hit Glens Falls, and my neighbors, I just want to thank them, the DPW, the fire department. I've heard such wonderful things about this great city. And I tell you, when things happen, we come together. And I want to thank this city. I want to thank my neighbors. I just think we have a great police department. Our fire department, DPW, has been outstanding. And I just, again, just want to recognize them for their great work.
Absolutely.
I think Tom had about 5 o'clock, 6 in the morning.
Yeah, they were, so when the storm hit, it was about 5:15, and by 5:30, Tom was on the phone with me, was on the road. I called in Pat because our communications director was on vacation. Pat came in and helped me to write the state of emergency, and then the county was reachable. Our fire department, police department, and DPW were all out in staff. We had 13 road closures. I got the head of the Homeland Security and emergency responses from the governor called to check in to see how we in Glens Falls, we had the highest recorded winds in the state that day at 87 miles an hour. And so it was great to see Glens Falls. I heard that the neighbors were loaning, neighbors were helping with chainsaws, cutting down trees. I know you had severe damage, you didn't kind of really mention it, in her home. And so there was plenty of huge amounts of personal damage. We're still working to try to assess the costs of that and what we might be able to get some help from the state and the county. So we're still in that process, but all streets are back open. We're open just over 48 hours from the hit of the storm to the day our public roads were back open, and we were still helping people, and we still are helping if neighbors can get their debris to the corner. Our guys are still helping them remove it, and not saying it's not our problem, which is a Glens Falls thing through and through. It's part of that Glens Falls difference we all talk about, and it's quite impressive, and they all need recognition. So thank you.
So how long are we allowing this storm cleanup?
Well, I don't know. We're just trying to
I'm
respond.
just curious
to-
because I have a tree down in my backyard
Yeah.
that I've been cutting up, and if I could drag stuff out to the corner,
Yeah.
I'd be thrilled.
They're only going through the wards once, but if you give them a call,
Okay.
we'll try to do what we can. They are, I've noticed that they're behind. I've noticed a couple of the parks that aren't mowed, and, we're behind, but we'll do what we can to help people, and we want to do whatever we can. And we're trying not to say no, and we're willing to try our best. So, and that's amazing, right? It was only a couple months ago that incident happened in Hudson Falls, and we want people to know we're on their side, and we'll do what we can.
Sounds good.
All right. That is old business, new business. Councilman Clark. Councilman Donahue. Councilman Lappin. Councilwoman Good. And I have none other than I would want to recognize our fire, police, and DPW. And we talk about essential workers, and I don't know that we always recognize DPW as being essential, but certainly, we know that our firefighters and our police officers, but boy, how essential is that, and keeping people, not one injury recorded in that storm. They did. They helped us too, because we couldn't open up some of those streets. Yeah, fair enough. So that is all I have. I do need to make thank you. We open up to public comment. Does anybody from the public wish to address the common council? Not seeing anyone. Do we have anybody online, Peter? Thank you. There are people online, but nobody looking to make a comment. I need a motion to go into executive session to discuss a proposed acquisition of real property when publicly if publicly discussed, might substantially affect the value of said property. We will not be, when we come out, we will not be coming to make a resolution. So we should end the public meeting, go into executive session, and when we come out, we're simply just going to go out. There won't be any resolutions to be passed. I wanted to let everybody know that, and we'll just simply come out and adjourn. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
Second.
Do we have, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. And so can we make the motion, even though it wouldn't be now, to adjourn after the executive session?
Second.
And all in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. We can send everybody home.